Good afternoon. Welcome to our show, Time with the Gardener. My name is Dr. Kwekuche Aka. This show is brought to you by Garden for All. Garden for All is a nonprofit organization. And so we educate people about gardening. And then our aim is to ensure that every home has access to safe food. Before we start our show today, enjoy our song. Yes, indeed. Embrace home gardening today. We all need to embrace home gardening. My name is Dr. Kwekuche Aka, and I believe you can hear me. Today, we are going to talk about a very, very, very important topic. Very important topic. And so I want you to take your pen and then start writing. And so I want to find out whether you can hear me now. So kindly check if you can hear me. Can hear me very well. Then we start our program. Let me check. Yes, I think. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. So I believe you can hear me now. Believe you can hear me now. And so we are starting our program. Yes, today we are going to talk about how you can successfully grow cucumbers in your home garden. One of the challenges that many people have been experiencing has to do with the downy mildew. How do you identify it? How do you manage it? We will talk about it. Well, cucumber itself is not a difficult crop to grow, but it is actually very difficult to manage if you allow some of the pest problems to get established in your garden. So it's very, very, very important that we take note of that. What you have to know is that cucumber belong to the same family as the watermelons, the squash, those family, they all belong to the same family. And so if you are growing watermelon, you are growing squash, and then pumpkins, and then you also grow cucumber, you are likely to experience the same problem because the same pests that attack them will attack your cucumber as well. So take note of that. Well, cucumber really loves sandy loam soil. Soil that is sandy loam, well drained, and then rich with organic matter. So that is the kind of soil that you have to choose if you want to grow cucumber. And so you have to take note, the clay soil is not good for cucumber. And so you have to make sure the soil is very loose. If you are going to plant, make sure you loosen up the soil. Soil have to be rich with organic matter because it is very sensitive to nutrients. So if you plant your cucumber and then you realize that the leaves are turning pale, then you have to know that there's no nutrient in the soil, nutrient deficiency. So you have to make sure you improve upon it. And so in seeding, you can decide to nest it in the seed tray, or you can decide to plant it as stake. And so if you are growing it in the seed tray, when you are transplanting, make sure you don't disturb the root. So even in the seed tray, we always advise that you try to use the cocoa pits, the pits in the trays, because with the soil, when you are transplanting, the soil can easily loosen up, and so you disturb the root. And once the roots are disturbed, it takes time to get established. And so you can nest it, and then you can plant a stick. Cucumber itself takes a very short period. At least after 6 weeks, you should be harvesting. 6 weeks, you should at least have something to be harvesting. So you have to take note of that. And so the distance that you have to mostly, if you are using ridges, in between the ridges, you need about, let's say 90 centimeters is okay, and then within between 60 to 90 centimeters is okay for the cucumber. But it also depends on the variety. Some can even choose to use 1 meter as the in between the ridges or the rows. So it is also acceptable because some varieties are very spreading. And it's also advisable that if you want to encourage lateral branching, you just, when you see the plant growing, you break the apical point so that you see lateral branching. And that is what some people prefer. And I also encourage that as well. And then again, trellising is very important. So you have to make sure you provide trellis, and then you tie it so that it can just grow up. Why do you need to do that? because the fruits are very prone to fruit rot. And most of the soil-borne pathogens, when they get attached to the fruit, this is cucumber, this is a fresh cucumber. And so it is very important that you don't allow the fruit to touch the soil, because once it touches the soil-borne pathogen may infect it. And so within a short time, you get your cucumber rotten. So it's very important that you get a trellis, get a pole, and then you get a rope, tie it to the rope, and then it will just be spreading, climbing up. Nicely, you have your fruits hanging. And again, you see the fruit color, uniform, very green. You have all the fruits, the very green around it. But once the fruit lies on the ground, the part that you see it touching the ground will be pale. It will be very pale. So that is why it's very important that you have them growing, the trellis, so that you can have a very fine fruits. Very important that way. And it's very important. Yeah, so sorry for the break in transmission. Yes, sorry. Yeah, the trellis is very important because it works perfectly for you. You have to make sure that you get a trellis. So if you are the type that want to grow cucumber, I would advise you use the trellis. One other reason why it's very important to get the trellis is that the downy mildew disease, I'll show you, because of the nature of the disease, it lies a very humid environment. And so if you allow your cucumber to spread on the ground and then you water, it creates a microclimate. That is, the environment created under the leaves will be so humid that if you have the downy mildew disease, it will spread very quickly. And then your plant will be dead in no time. That is why we encourage that you use the trellis, and that is very, very important. And so take note. And so once you get it established, a lot of you don't consider that it needs a lot of attention. Cucumber needs a lot of attention. So it's very important that you water regularly. But cucumber doesn't like soggy soil, making the soil so soggy. It can kill the plant. But one other thing that also kills the cucumber, very sensitive to compost, that is not manure, that is not well decomposed. If you apply manure that is not well decomposed, and then it touches the stem, it will kill it. Same with your squash or watermelon. If whenever you want to apply manure, make sure it is well decomposed. Even if it is well decomposed, make sure you mix it with the soil around the plant, but don't heap it, don't let it touch the stem. Because of the heat that is generated, it can kill it within a short time. Recently, a gardener called to complain about his cucumber plants dying. So she sent a picture to me. When I saw it, I asked her, have you applied manure recently? He said, yes, I applied cow manure. I say, yes, that is the cause of the death of your cucumber. So make sure you don't let it touch the stem, else it will kill it. So take note of that. Make sure if you are applying, even if you, because you can't, if you are buying it, you can't trust it whether it is well decomposed. So make sure you just apply it to the soil around the plant, but don't let it touch the stem, else it will kill the plant. Take note of that. Yeah, so one other major pest of cucumber is the fruit fly. A lot of us, you see your cucumber plant rotting. This is an example. You look at this particular fruit. All these, you can see that, oh, this side is getting rotten, this particular side, and then the one up here, same. This is the fruit fly. It lays the eggs in the cucumber. So you see the eggs developing. So when you see the cucumber, a spot like this rotten, it shows that the fruit fly has laid the eggs. And so sometimes you see it bending. Look at this particular one. Yes, the fruit fly lays the egg. So when you break open, let me break open. When you break open and you look at this portion, you see the worm developing. You see the worm inside. So those of you with cucumber, if you have this problem, cut open. When you cut open, you see worms developing from within. And so what you need to know is that once you see the fruits developing, very tiny, once it starts developing, that is the time that you need to spray. Because as young as it is, the fruit flies lays the eggs, and then as your plant, but because cucumber, once the fruit set, within some few days becomes very big. And so within that same day, the eggs will hatch into a larvae, and the larvae will eat from within, and then it becomes, as it is eating from within, it gets rotten. So take note, and immediately you see the fruit set, that is the time that you need to spray. You can get what we normally use to spray. You can get the sulfur. Sulfur, it can are approved as organic, so you can use the sulfur-based spray. You can also use the mammectin benzoate, but I prefer using the local black soap. We call it the alatasamina. The local black soap is very effective as well, and they also serve as a protective spray. So mostly I would advise go for organic, but use those that can also protect the plant, the fruit against other infestation. So the fruit fly is very damaging, and then you see. So anytime you see your cucumber burning this way, you have, or you see the tiny rot, you have to know that you have fruit flies as a problem. So take note. The fruit flies can attack almost every fruit that you have, the same way with your pumpkins, the same way with your squash, and then other fruit, your tomatoes, they can also lay eggs and then damage them as well. So take note, if you have other fruit as well, you have to make sure you spray so that you can. And so with this one, this fruit, for example, or the rotten one, please, you make sure you remove them, remove all of them. Once you leave, because this one particularly will have a lot of eggs inside. So when you keep it in your garden, the eggs will develop from within, and then they will emerge, pupate in the soil, and then fly within the same garden and then be laying eggs. So the infested fruits, make sure you pick all of them, you put them in a polythene bag, and then you bury them. You bury them in the soil. That will kill them. That is what you have to do in managing the fruit flies. Don't keep the rotten fruit in the garden. If you keep the rotten fruit in your garden, it means you are rather rearing the insect, the pest in your garden. So the population is just going to increase. You can also get the pheromone traps, set the pheromone traps in your garden. It will trap the fruit flies, and then it will protect your fruit as well. Very, very, very important. So we also have the cucumber beetles. There are about 4 different kinds of beetles that are likely to attack your cucumber. About 4. One, the brown one. You have the one is also the Pelagna beetle. It's round like the ladybug beetle, but this particular one has a yellow, is yellow with black spot. You see, the ladybird beetle is different. You see it red with a black spot, but the Pelagna beetle is different. So you have different, and one other beetle, blue in color. All of them attack the cucumber. The same beetles attack the squash. The same beetles also attack the pumpkins and then the watermelons. So if you are growing them, you know you are growing the same plants within the same garden, you are going to have a high number. But these beetles, once the leaves start developing, you have them in the garden. So that's right from the beginning, you have to start spraying against them. And then the sulfur works best. It also works effectively against them. And then the local black soap as well. But make sure you get chemicals that have been approved for use on cucumber. And then you make sure you get chemicals that are effective against beetles. And then you apply them. And then make sure you look at the interval specified on the pesticide label. And then you spray accordingly. Take note of that. Always observe the harvest interval. Whenever you spray, make sure you look at the time that you are supposed to harvest. Some spray will give you 3 days, some will give you 1 week. The harvest interval is very important. You follow it accordingly. Take note. There are other pest problems, and that is the aphids. When you look closely, you can see the black spots that you see. Those are aphids. Always look under the leaves, and then you find aphids. All the black spot under the leaves are aphids. And then as that is the older part, but I don't know whether my camera is very good, but you can also see the green spots here. Those are also aphids. So very damaging, and then they can destroy your plant. But what you can also use to detect the presence of aphids are ants. Anytime you come across, you find ants on your cucumber, you find a lot of ants moving around your plants, you find them, that tells you that you have aphids problem. Anytime you find ants, some of you reported, oh, the aphids are the problems. Oh, I've seen, no, sorry. Some say that they've seen ants, the ants are destroying their plants. No, the ant is not your problem. Your problem has to do with aphids or whiteflies, or it can be mealybugs. But with this one, when you see, when I picked the leaves, I had a lot of ants around them. So use the ants presence to know when you have aphids with them, aphids. So you kindly spray accordingly. Please, as I said, make sure you go organic as much as possible. But you can also use the inorganic pesticide if you are going commercial. You can use it, but you have to make sure you use recommended rate. But I always advise home gardeners go organic as much as possible. So when you look at our recommendations, we always recommend the use of organic approach. So the sulfur that I have recommended, or sulfur, is approved for use on organic in some countries. In Ghana, it is approved for use on organic. The local black soap is organic in nature, and so take note of that. The neem extract, the neem oil, is also very effective on the aphids. So you can just spray the neem to control them. You can also use the local black soap. And those of you who have the curry plant is also you can also prepare an extract the same way you prepare the neem extract and then use it to spray. Is very effective against the aphids as well. So take note, if you have aphids problem, the neem extract, the curry plant extracts are very effective against them. So take note of that. So that is what you have to look out for: the aphids, the the white flies, the beetles are very important pests of cucumber. So take note of that as well. Yeah, so when it comes to the diseases, one major disease is the downy mildew. The downy mildew is a major disease of cucumber. So you see your plants dying within a short time. First of all, you see one side, the yellowing starting, and then it starts spreading, and you see it turning brown. As you can see, turning brown, very damaging. This is a fungal disease, and so you have to make sure you don't create condition that will favor the spread of the disease. It lies a very humid environment, very humid environment. So if you allow your this thing, your bed to be very humid, or you don't get the trellis and then you allow the plant to spread, once you water, the water doesn't evaporate easily, and so the moisture under the leaves will favor the spread of the disease. So within a week, you'll see the leaves getting rotten. So it's very important that you take note of it. The downy mildew is very important. And so you have to ask, when you see any infected leaves, remove the leaves, because once you leave the leaves there, it will serve as a source of inoculum. And if you have been irrigating, make sure you don't spray the water on the leaves. Most of us, that is what we do. Whenever we are watering, we pour the water on the leaves. If you have the downy mildew as a problem, always, when you are watering, pour the water just directly at the base of the plant. Don't spread it. Don't spray the water on the leaves. Once you spray the water on the leaves, it will spread. The disease will spread very quickly, and then the leaves will die very quickly. So don't, especially when you are using the hose, don't use the hose to spray the water on the leaves. Make sure you pour it directly at the base of the plant. That is how you can use to manage the disease. At least with time, you can harvest something and then be satisfied with your yield. So take note of that. The sulfur can be used as an insecticide. It can also be used as a fungicide. So you can use it to spray if it is approved in your country. So let's take note of that. So in effect, it is not that difficult to grow the cucumber. You just have to understand some of the problems that you are likely to encounter and how you can deal with them. I have been able to educate you about cucumber, how you can grow them, and so take note of that. And I'm sure that my my training today will be helpful to you. And so I will read some of your messages. The gardening Mark said, yes, he's been growing cucumber, and then the trellis works fantastic. It's very good for him. Thank you so much for confirming. And then I also agree with you. The trellis works very well. So kindly consider, learn from Gardening Mark, and then you also use the trellis. If you are watching this video, take note of that. Yes, Johnson, I have always been recommending the use of the organic approach in all our videos. All the recommendations that we recommend are the organic approach. I am for organic. So Garden for All, my organization, we promote gardening, we promote the use of the organic approach in managing the pests and diseases. And so that is something that we always advise because of the effect of the inorganic pesticide. And so that is why we are encouraging everyone to, as much as possible, grow something at home and then manage them with using the organic approach. There was one video that I talked about the various plants that you can use as pest control. I think you can look at the videos, the previous videos, and then you can also know some of them. And so yes, the neem is also very, it's one of the plants that have received a lot of attention as a pesticide, as used for managing pests. But there's one other plant that is also very effective, but people have not been using. That is the curry plant. So I would advise that we also grow the curry plant and then use the curry plant as a pest control agent. Yeah. Okay, so yes, there are other companion plants that we can also use. And so the African marigold, and also encourage the use of the basil. Basil also helps in repelling some of the plant. And dill. Dill is also one plant that I would recommend that you also grow within your garden. It also helps to repel some of the pests for you. So take note of that, and grow them. Oregano is also one plant that also helps to repel some of the pests. So you can also grow them in your garden to manage your pests effectively. So thank you so much, Ben Johnson. I'm grateful for the contribution. And so, viewers, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and for listening to my advice. This show is brought to you every Sunday at 3 p.m. GMT. Today, I couldn't go to the field because I'm coming from a program, but I tried to bring you this show. Next week, there will be another very interesting topic, and we may be on the field or not. But rest assured that we will give you all the necessary training. So kindly subscribe to our channel and then share. There are a lot of videos that are on the channel. So kindly watch all of them and then share them with your colleagues, gardeners, so that they can also learn from it. My name is Dr. Kwekucheaka. I am the gardener. Thank you so much, and bye-bye for now.